Welcome to the Speaking Podcast. You can find all our episodes on speakingpodcast.com. My guest today is, I should say, Down Under with Skippy and Lassie. They're the programs I remember as a child in Australia. IT recruiter, photographer, serial podcaster, strategist, trainer, coach, and keynote speaker. Please welcome Darren Saul.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And yes, I grew up watching Skippy and all those cool TV shows. Brings me right back.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that these days. It's like they've all the, I don't know, this, what I find, I don't know about you, but what I'm seeing is the green screen kind of ruins it. You don't kind of get involved in any movie because they have all the explosions and everything. But if you ask anybody their favourite movie, it's never anything like that. It's always like, you know, Fight Club or something like that, one of the older ones, or Enter the Dragon and things like that.
Yeah, don't get me started about movies. Like I'm rewatching old movies and old series. I've got a whole collection because I find them so good. And a lot of the stuff that's coming out nowadays, I struggle to find some good stuff. Every now and again there is some, but I'm with you.
And just for those that are probably looking for something, if I had to say 3 things to watch, would be what was the hotel one with Faulty Towers would be one. Father Ted, an Irish comedians, but it was done in Channel 4, so it was made in the UK, is another classic, and Only Fools and Horses. They're timeless. They're just brilliant. So if you're looking for something to entertain you, you won't get anything better than them.
Absolutely. Love it.
So, like, I mean, obviously we're going to go deep into the podcasting because, I've got the 6 shows. I love it. But I want to learn a bit more about Darren and kind of your own journey, because I assume photography came first, or what? You might kind of let the listeners know a bit more about it.
Yeah, you bet, man. So I've done a few things. I've been working as a recruiter, a corporate recruiter, for like 25 years. I'm still working as a corporate recruiter. I've been working as a part-time photographer, professional photographer, for about 10 years. And I just love, as you can see, I love to do new things. I love variety. I like to stretch and learn and grow and be curious. But at a certain point in my journey, I realized that the old ways of advertising and marketing and cold calling and, letter drops and all that kind of stuff wasn't really working as well as it used to. We started to move on. And so I started diving heavily into digital media, and part of that journey was getting into podcasting. And I said, wow, this is unbelievable. So I started just putting together 2 different shows, one for my recruitment brand and one for my photography brand. So I still have both those shows today, but the photography brand has kind of metamorphosized into a whole podcasting ecosystem where I do teaching and coaching and interview lots of different people about different things and all sorts of different genres in the podcasting space. And I've just exploded my love for podcasting, and I can just honestly say that it's been the most rewarding and fun and incredible activity from a marketing point of view as well, and a business generation point of view, but also to have a lot of fun. So that's a little bit of a nutshell, 25, 30 years summarized in 10 seconds.
And I suppose, because I'm a serial entrepreneur, I've had about 20 companies. I'm always doing a lot of things, as well as having 6 podcasts. But you must know, you've come across a few people and they go, I don't have time to do 1 show a week or whatever. It's like so much work. So obviously you're churning out a lot as well. So how do you manage your time?
Yeah, I reckon, I was just thinking about that this morning. I'm actually quite passionate about being organized and being systemized in general. Without good systems and without good organization and planning, that's when you start falling apart. That's when everything starts to fall through the cracks. So that's number one. You have to really know, you plan your next day, you have your diary mapped out, and you follow it properly, and everything that you need to do goes in the diary, nothing slips through, and you really have good systems. And then I try to automate stuff as well. So I like to have scripts that I automate or cut and paste, or anytime that I'm trying to do something for the second or third time, I'm thinking, I'm going to find a way to automate this, because I'm not going to be retyping this 100 times. So you always try to work out how to automate and systemize. And then if you do that, if you think about that, you'll always find time to put in a podcast or to get on someone else's show or to go for a coffee or go for a run or whatever else. So it's really about being organized. And of course, I have those days where everything falls apart and I'm just reacting, for sure. But I can still find that half an hour or 1 hour to do what I have to do. Yeah, even if I have to squeeze it in sometimes at 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night, I'll find a way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I mean, like everything is systemized, and so even like if you have guests, like what they can do, and it's like everything is on a drive, and cut and paste, and then you're just changing, the link for the thing. But yeah, so many people don't do that, and it's like I'm constantly looking. How can I reduce this? How can I stop this? How can I automate this? It's like, can I do this automatically? And even with the forms, I started doing the forms because I found that even the booking, because it was a back and forth. And then I just said, okay, fill out the form. Here's your link. Book your days and time. And then, and I don't know about you actually, because I mean, obviously, do you do pre-calls? Because I've heard pros and cons, and I tell you what I've heard first. I don't do them, but I've been on a lot of shows. I mean, I go on shows like yourself, and some people say they want to kind of build the relationship first and see how we get, and then you have, and yes, I agree to that, it can have a good thing, but I also love, I mean, we haven't spoken before, and I like that as well. I like the kind of, we don't know where it's going, and it's kind of, it's like curious, what way do you do pre-calls?
No pre-calls. I'm the same. I'm exactly the same as you. I almost, number one, I don't have the time. Like that's what I really don't want to, that means double work. Every episode's got to have double work now. So that I won't do. But I believe as well as a podcast host, and I'm sure you believe as well, that it's our job to dig and find the gold out of every person in every story. And most of the time you can find something amazing that you can share with your audience. So if you think about it from that point of view, every guest has a potential to be valuable. And it's just about how you work with those people and how you manage things. But it's also in the pre-work. So, for example, as you said, I set up a whole page now, like a web page, and I give them a list of exactly what to expect, how to prepare for the episode, how to make sure they're lit well, how to sound good, what I link to this form and fill out all your details, tell me about what you might want to talk about, give me all your links, give me your bio, give me your photo, give me your logo. Click into Calendly, and all I do is send one link. So there it is. It's all there. Set it up. And then I get them to do as much work as I can for me. And then all I do, as you say, is just plug it in, and then off I go. So, you got it. It's systemization again. Everything's about
like previous to that, it was like you'd be trying to find the bio to include in the show notes. Then you're going through all the pictures. And I don't know about you, but one of the things that I have, it depends on the podcast, because not all my podcasts are kind of fun and stuff like that, but I'd say like fun and crazy is helpful. So if people send me a picture because it grabs attention, and I got some incredible pictures from people just by writing that. Whereas I'd be going through looking for, you're just saving hours and hours of time by doing it that way.
Absolutely. And then collecting all the links. I say, have you got your own podcast? Put the link in. All your social channels, put the link in. Have you got a fun title that you might want to use? Put it in and I'll tweak it. So I'm getting to do them as much work as I can. And then it takes me literally 10 minutes to set the prep up for the episode. I send it back to them and I'm ready to go. So it's amazing how you can systemize and automate, and it's very low cost, if free, with all the great tools out there these days, like Calendly and One Page.
There's actually a better one than Calendly. I think, because Calendly is like $100 or something like that. There's one that I got, and I still have the Calendly because it's running out. Yeah, I have it till the end of the year. But there's another one I got it for a lifetime for something like, it was $29, and I got another discount, $26 lifetime, and I'm able to create so many different times. 15-minute calls, 30 minutes, hours. Yeah, so I constantly look at that as well, like, because when you start podcasting, it's like, oh, it's great, and then you start saying, ooh, I'm paying for this, I'm paying for this, I'm paying for this. I said, this isn't what I was expecting. I was expecting money to start flowing in. So at the start, you'll find that you start paying for a lot of different things. Yeah.
Yep, and then again as well, if you're doing a lot of work to promote your show, you've got to start chopping up your episodes, you've got to put captions on them, you got all this kind of stuff. You've got to plug into all this software that costs money. So before you know it, and then you got your subscriptions for this, and your hosting, and your microphones, and your other gear, and oh my God, and your Canva. pro count, and it adds up. So you got to really be
But
careful.
the same thing, like that's actually what I would say to a lot of people. I've got the Canva unlimited as well. I've got a load of things. Not at the start, I was paying for all these things, but I get a load of different things, and it's like, okay, I can get this, because you just watch out for offers. and
You're
and I use the thing as well, coupon or something. So every time I'm buying anything, it kicks in. So it automatically puts in a coupon. And sometimes you'll get 50% off that you weren't expecting. And even if I don't, I'll go in and I'll do a search. Before I press the buy now button, I'll do, is there coupons for whatever it is?
I love it.
And you get it and just paste, and then you're like, so it's just a habit that I've got to watch the pennies and the pounds look after themselves.
Because it does add up. Like all these tools, before you know it, and then your credit card gets charged, you think, I didn't expect that. I didn't sign up for that, because you signed up for a free trial and then you forgot. Like, oh my God, like absolutely, you got to be so careful.
And this one actually, and it mightn't seem like much, but with name, I've transferred all mine. Don't like GoDaddy, and even today I got another one transferred from Name Cheap or something. That it was just, I wanted to keep them all on the thing.
Yeah.
When they renew it, people just normally just let it go automatically. What I've learned is you go in, and this privacy thing that charges you $5.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got 30 websites or whatever, like, you get that free with a coupon. Whereas if you don't renew it, if you just let it go automatically, they charge you for that. So it's just like paying attention to the small things. And it's like,
yeah, very clever, because that's what they want. They're out to get the ones that don't do the research, like you.
Exactly.
Right.
So, curious with AI, then, like, how are you implementing AI into your podcasting?
Yeah, love it. Well, first of all, what's been really amazing is that I use ChatGPT to write my podcast summaries. Like after that, my show notes. It's been, so all that information that I've gathered from my guest to prepare the episode, I usually email that back to them and say, here's a framework for the episode. Just get ready, prepare yourself. And I'll plug that into ChatGPT and say, write me show notes for the episode. And it comes up with all these beautiful things. So that saves me a lot of time. Then when it comes to video content, so I use a product called Splashio, which is fantastic. I can plug my...
That one, that's a new one on me.
That's a new one. Splashio. It's a great one. You can put in it can repurpose your videos for you with captions and emojis. Then there's another great one called Opus Clip, OPUS Clip. Ever heard of that one?
Yeah.
That's another great one. Yeah. And there's new ones popping up all the time. So it's all AI driven. If you want to start using captions and timestamps and all that kind of stuff, there's things like Swell AI is another fun one. And then if you want to go even further, there's two tools that I just absolutely love. One is called Goblin Tools, Goblin, and the other one is called Gamma, Gamma, Gamma Presentation. And what these things can do is, let's say you want to create content after you've done your podcast and you want to leverage it and turn it into a presentation or a PDF that you can put on social media or send out to your newsletter or put in a resource center or whatever. Gamma, for example, you can take a little snippet of your transcript or even just type in a couple of lines and it will put together an AI-driven presentation, 10 to 20 pages with incredible content, pictures, graphics, and arrows and boxes, and it's beautifully presented. And you can turn that into a PDF or an actual PowerPoint, all AI-driven in about 10 seconds. So that's insane. And then Goblin Tools is a great little thing. If you say you want to research you want to write an article on how to start a podcast, you just type in how to start a podcast. It'll come up with 5 or 10 steps. Bang, 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 bang. Then you can go and further expand each step into another 5 or 10 steps. And then you have this massive resource center, which you can again go and plug into ChatGPT, Gamma, and turn into a presentation. So all this work is being done for you with just a one-line prompt. So there's some amazing AI tools out there. So I'm loving it.
And I believe because I have my Polish one on Podbean, and I think your one is on Podbean as well.
My Podbean as well, yeah.
Like, not only does it give me titles, but it gives me the podcast description, and it is so good. It's like really good. And I found, because I want to touch on the platforms actually, because I found with that, it was getting me to go to Samsung TV and so many different platforms that it was so well organized.
Wow.
The Podbean, that's, because it gives you the tools, but you have to open the door and start searching around. It just doesn't do it for you. You have to kind of start going, okay, I navigate this. So, like, do you have all your podcasts on Podbean, or what are the platforms?
Yeah, funny you should ask. So I've got one podcast on Spotify for podcasters, and that's the one I started really diving into because it had a bit more content creation tools in there. I think they've changed that now because they've done a deal with Riverside, which is a fantastic product, and they're doing some collaboration. But then I use my main podcast for my suspended animation brand on Podbean, but I haven't looked under the hood like you have. So I've got to go and have a look and see about all these different things because I'm probably missing out.
No, to be honest with you, it's really good. Like this, and you can connect it with Facebook, YouTube, and all this as well. So it automatically blasts it out. Twitter, yeah. And I've got my other ones on Spotify, and basically, because you're kind of podcasting, I don't know what year you started. I was 2018, but it was with Anchor, and they were so good for customer service and everything. It was like brilliant. But Spotify, it's like so difficult, and like a lot of people think, oh, you're safe with a podcast, getting information out. I had an episode recently just removed, and they wouldn't give me the reason. They just said it went against their guidelines. And a friend of mine who I used to do shows with on my Awakening podcast, they deplatformed him, and when he tried to get his RSS feed to put it somewhere else, they'd be engaged in a conversation, and they just end the conversation. And he tried about 20 times, and in the end he just gave up and he stopped podcasting, which was a shame because he's actually very good at it. And it's like, you get the likes of Rogan and all this talking about stuff, but we kind of know, like, I go a bit deep, and we're kind of showing the truth as opposed to what people kind of think is the truth, and they don't like it, and it's like, so is there other ones that you use? Because like, I don't trust Spotify for their numbers.
I've heard of Buzzsprout. Is it Buzzsprout?
I don't like their website. Like, I think Buzzsprout, there's a lot of people. Is it Pat Flynn or something? Like, loads of people use that because, I mean, I'm obviously researching a lot of the guests when they come on. I look at their podcasts and all this. But I don't like or the same with Lipson. I don't like the platform. It looks terrible. And it's like, if I'm sending people there, I mean, I've got very good websites. All my websites Podbean, Podpage is the one I use. So it looks very professional. You can have the store, the sponsorship and everything. It looks way better. So you can just divert it. But when I look at people, and they have good shows, I think that's why they're not getting good rankings, because it's like people go in and it's like, it's not appealing.
No, I agree. So it is. I actually do like Podbean as the interface. It's beautiful. The actual main interface of Podbean looks really good. Beautiful logo, banner.
You can do 20 different versions of the website. You can.
Yep, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Even better than from an interface point of view, from a presentation point of view, I like it better than Spotify for podcasters. But when I started with Anchor, like you did, when it used to be called Anchor, it had all those. You could record intros and outros and do all that stuff behind the scenes. Now I think they've changed that a bit. So but you can upload videos through.
That's why I didn't change. I was going to start moving them all, and I said, my thoughts behind it was, there's a competitive advantage because Spotify is no better than Apple. If you look at this, and I look at the amount of people on the analytics, and it's like more on Spotify than Apple, but yet I see myself in the charts in Apple constantly. Like, I'd be number one in a load of different countries, and on Spotify, nothing. And I wrote to them, I said, what's going on here? Like, and then I'd see numbers. My numbers wouldn't move for ages. And I'd be like, hey, what's going on here? Like, oh, sorry, next 5,000, go give me 5,000. So I don't trust them. It's a shame, but, and I think now they're starting to allow other platforms to have the video to go up on it. So as soon as I can do that, because I watch all the podcasts on video on Spotify, I know that not everybody does, but I'd hate to take it off it for somebody that liked it and no longer have it, and then they'd have to go on to YouTube or whatever, because I don't go on to YouTube. Usually what I can do is I can be doing my stats, or I can be working out stuff, kind of, and I'd have it playing there. And then, for example, Patrick Bet David, sometimes they're showing a graphic or something, and you could just look and pause whatever you're doing.
Then you come back.
So I don't want to take that off. Like, yeah, and there's other ones as well. Like, is there any other that you've kind of heard of that you think, this is great? Because I've researched like probably 30. I went through all the different things. Like one of the things on the Buzzsprout that I didn't like, and it annoyed me. And I advise people that I kind of coach, they go, oh, it's free, but it's like 2 hours a month and it disappears after, is it a month or 90 days? And I was like, people don't even understand that. That is sneaky. That is like, whereas Spotify is free. So if someone has a budget, they're watching the budget, go on that. Podbean is like, what, $108
Podbean is also
a year or something. It's very reasonable for what you get. Like.
Yeah. So those are my two favorites. I agree, Spotify and Podbean. But there's probably who knows how many others. There's new platforms popping up all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But so I'm always getting email messages from Podbean as well to say this is what we do, and so they're also adding lots of AI to the back end, and so it's incredible now. Like in another few years, I'm sure that a lot of these platforms will be able to do all these things that will cut more of our time down as well.
But yeah, and I don't know, have you actually done the languages? Because I mean, I'm constantly getting people like beta testers coming, saying, "Oh, we're creating this, and will you test it?" And one of them was actually in the languages, so I created my podcast, just sections of it, like 5 minutes in Spanish, and there was some other language as well, and it was so good because it's in my voice, and
wow.
I knew you could kind of know it wasn't me speaking Spanish from the thing, but I took the audio and sent it to 2 friends. One kind of knew it, but the other Spanish person didn't know. I just said, I've been practicing my Spanish and I'm thinking of putting my podcast out. And they didn't know that it was AI. So that just shows the level that it's got.
Definitely. And funny enough, you should say that as you're talking, I'm thinking, you know what's going to happen, I reckon, is every single podcast app and YouTube platform or something like that will in the future will just have a button, and you can just choose what language you want to listen to it or watch it in, and it will automatically convert it in real time. Every platform.
Yeah.
I reckon that's what's going to happen.
And have you, like, this is something, because I mean, I know that, like, I put this on the Podfather as well, so there's a lot of podcasters or people hoping to start, but what you can do now as well is obviously I put my podcast on my YouTube channel, but you can actually have the RSS feed now that it automatically goes up as well. The audio version. Yeah. Yeah. So the way I see it is like you can have 50 different places and you just don't know. So like for censorship, like your stuff, photography and different things like that, you're not going to get it. I am, because I'm exposing stuff with some of my stuff. Like my crypto, on YouTube, they removed it without even getting strikes or anything. And then a year later, we reviewed it, it's okay. But it never grew out. I was like, that was so... But my Awake thing, I got 3 strikes and then they removed it. So, but I have my own channel. And even with my own channel, one was, I forget your one's name, Shara. She's 84 years of age. I got a strike for her. She was exposing the Holocaust. And the other one was exposing the education system and got a strike for that. It's like, it's a shame I have to tiptoe around not to get a strike, because then that channel is gone, because you're building it for years. So I use also Rumble and BitChute, and I'm just wondering, because there's a Desi, or a Desi, whatever you pronounce it. There's others. Is there any other video channels that you use or are aware of?
I love YouTube, definitely. But I do hear that sometimes you can use Wistia, you could use, what's the other one? Vimeo. But YouTube it's so good because it's a search engine as well. And then you can put the shorts on. The shorts do really well on YouTube. Just like Facebook, the reels do really well. So YouTube is just a great platform because of the search as well. That's the thing.
And have you figured with the podcast? I mean, because like I create the shorts as well. So when we do an episode, we put up the episode and then we put up the shorts, and I've got it broken down to the different podcasts so people can go into the one that they actually. I love the playlist. But honestly, like sometimes I can get a video, get 10,000 or whatever, and then you get one that's getting 3. And then I'll be like working on the thumbnails, working on the keywords, using TubeBuddy, using vidIQ and everything. I haven't the foggiest how it works, because I've tried so many different things and I'm looking for the secret sauce. Okay, it's just this. And when you think you have it, you go. And then sometimes my team would put out something and I'd look and I go, this has got 5,000. How did you do it? No keywords, no, they just put it up and they forgot to do everything, and you're going, what?
Sometimes the algorithm and the timing and it's this cocktail of things that you just can't explain. It is what it is. So it kind of brings us to a good point. is I don't tend to get too obsessed with the metrics. Like, if you've got to be a podcaster and you like the medium and you want to build brand and build content, don't fall into the trap of getting obsessed with the metrics and drive yourself crazy, because, from one video to the next, you get 1,000 views and you get 10, then you get 10. Like, who the hell knows? Just keep being consistent, put it out there, having fun, and don't worry about it. You drive yourself nuts.
And like what I say to people is, if you went into a room and there's 20 people there, you would be so happy to speak in front of 20 people.
Exactly.
And yet, if people get that on their podcast, they think they're a failure because they're comparing themselves to Rogan or Mr. Beast or something like that. And they go, oh, what's the point? And it's like, you don't know. And I mean, I've heard of people, they get like 3 listeners or whatever, and they get clients from that.
Yes. So I don't know the quality of those 1,000 versus the quality of those 3 or 10.
Exactly.
So that's the thing to think about. Like, you could have 10,000 people watching it for 1 second. We could have 2 people watching it the whole thing and get 2 clients out of it. That's fantastic. Yeah. So, that's why you don't get too obsessed with the metrics.
So you've got a blog and you create like different things to help podcasters and just different stuff as well. I think photography as well.
Yep.
How beneficial has that been in getting clients? Because not everyone does that. So I'm just curious, how's that worked out for you?
The blogging or the
blogging, to help kind of get clients from that,
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that I'm getting really into these days is email marketing and funnels and automation and articles and giving value and blogs and all that kind of stuff. So I'll put a blog post on my website. I want to do more of that. I don't do enough of that. But I'll do a lot of written articles and whatnot in my email campaigns. And I know you're on my email list, so you get them as well. And then I'll put my latest episodes on there as well, and people can watch the episodes. And that's starting to build a lot of traction. Like, I can see it building slowly. It takes time. But I just think because of social media nowadays being extremely powerful, but it's getting noisy. It's getting very, very noisy. So I think to complement it with a good email list that you can curate and give value to and build over time can be really powerful. And as long as you try not to sell too much, we're all testing the waters to work out what works for us and our audience. But as long as you don't sell too much and give people some value, it can really work well. And it's another great way for people to know your last 2 or 3 episodes, because you can't expect everybody to know and see your notification, because there's that many podcast apps. Who the hell knows? I'm listening to 20, 30 podcasts. I'll miss them. So if I get an email, you talked about that. Oh, that's interesting. Let's flag that. I'll watch that on the weekend, or whatever. So I think it does work, and it's just a process of building and allowing people to realize that there's some value in that campaign and that blog post and article.
And because I don't know, is it about 6 or 8 different courses you've got? And I actually got one. We were talking prior to recording. I got one on 15 ways to monetize. And as I had said to you, I'm constantly doing courses, watching programs, and I just say, if I can get one more thing, because I'm constantly trying to help my own clients and myself as well. Like, and there was something, but I have it written down, but I forget what. But it's like, it's low entry point, and you've got other things as well. So I'm just wondering, like, did you find that, because I just have the one course or else one-on-one coaching, but did you find that having the low entry point leads to kind of people going, oh, you're just giving me value, now I'll become a customer?
Yes. So what I'm learning is I started like you, and I started with my full one-on-one course. That's my premium course, most expensive course. And then a good friend of mine said, you know what? Let's partner, and next time you do a group course, or we'll put a group course together, we'll record it, and we'll turn that into your 4-part video series. So that became like a smaller entry point, not the smallest, but a medium-sized entry point. And then I thought to myself just the other day, you know what? Sometimes there are people that are not quite sure if they want to dedicate and dive into the podcasting world without knowing anything about it. So I thought maybe even a smaller course, like a 1-hour course, might be great, just to give them a bit of an introduction. And then they can go and take the next step and take the next step. And then if they want to learn how to monetize, they can check that one out. So I thought I'd kind of tackle all ends of the spectrum. And then the other thing that I'm really passionate about is helping guests because there are a lot of guests that go on podcasts and they don't want to have their own show. They don't have the time, or they don't have the energy, or they don't have the know-how. They don't want to know. But they don't do enough with the guest appearances that they use. They go on all these people's shows like this, and when you give them the files or you post it up once, they say, "Thank you so much. I had a great time on your show," and that's the end of it.
And some of them won't even respond when you send them the links.
Exactly. So to me, that's insane. I mean, you've just done all this work, you've got all this leverage, all this material, and you do nothing with it. So I'm putting together courses now for guests to teach them how to leverage these episodes, because it's madness. I think of everything from a marketing point of view. I love marketing. Yeah. So anything that I do, I'm thinking, how can I leverage this? How can I scale it? How can I turn it into more and repurpose it? Because using it once is madness.
And so it's a shame, actually, because I help people get on shows, and whether it's for coaching or for their book or stuff like that. And I kind of tell them, one, how to come across and everything, because sometimes people, they do it salesy without giving value. And it's like, the main thing is give value, because if you're giving value, the person is listening going, I like this guy. This guy knows what he's talking about. I want to work with him. Whereas some people, they're trying to hold back the best things and just give a little, put their toe in the water, and that never works.
Yep, I agree with you. I think it's really about giving as much value as it can, and then you can sell or put in a little plug here or there, but that's it. Give people way over proportion value, and then they'll say, great, I really like, because people want to get to know the insights. They want to know your know-how, your wisdom, your knowledge, your expertise, all those little nuggets that you can show them after all this time that, of what you've been doing. And then they say, yep, this person I resonate with, I'm going to do a course, or I'm going to reach out to them and see what we can do. So 100% agree with you. You can't just be selling all the time. That's the quickest way to chase people away.
And I don't know about you, but when I'm talking to people as well, that want to do the tour, I always kind of encourage them to do their own show, because they said it's great to do both, and even maybe just learn at the start and kind of see what you like. But for example, if there's a few I told, and they were like, sure, what's the point of this? I says, you can interview the people that are potential clients for you. They'll be delighted to come on the show. You're building a relationship, and they're like, it's like the penny drops.
Yeah, it's like ding.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you might even have two listeners. It doesn't matter who's listening. If you've got that guy and you do it, and then you share the stuff and create the clips and everything, it's like, so I think it's actually good to do both, because even you, you go around and do the touring as well. I'm sure you've learned, because, I'm constantly learning, because I'd go on and you see a form or something, and you go, oh, I like that. Or you see just everybody's got
from
something,
each other.
And you just keep, and the thing is, I know you're very generous with what you share as well, because I've seen you talk, and I see not everyone's like that. And it's like when I started off, I was always giving loads of stuff to people, and there'd be people constantly then trying to grab your stuff. But for example, I would share everything with you, because I know you would do the same with me. But the people that don't ever give you anything and just keep taking, you stop telling them anything.
Of course.
And then they're wondering what's going on. And it's like, it's just, if, get into the right
two-way street.
I presume you have the same as me. You've a circle. Someone will ring me or write to me and go, hey, there's a new thing out. And you're way ahead of the curve, because they appreciate what you've done for them 3 years ago.
100%. I totally agree with you. And there's a great book I read years ago by, I think, one of the famous English advertising moguls. And I think it was called Steer Like an Artist. And the whole premise was that artists are all becoming inspired and learning and borrowing ideas from other people all the time. That's what we've done over time. And all we then do is start putting our own little spin on it, and it becomes our own. Nothing is really brand new. We're all just repurposing and repackaging and re-energizing ideas that have been around for many, many years, and we put our own little spin on it. So we're all collaborating, we're sharing ideas, and I'll learn something from you, you'll learn something from me, I'll learn something from someone else, and we all put it all together into our own little personal cocktail. And that's the whole part of it. That's the fun.
Exactly. So with the social media, kind of, we've touched on it a little bit. It's a minefield, and I think you're on TikTok as well. There's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and everything. LinkedIn,
everything.
Well, everything. What way do you because you kind of have to look at it as the entrepreneur for a certain business, and then you have to look at it as the podcaster as well. So let's take it as the podcaster's kind of angle.
Yeah. Well, when I teach people, I'll usually say to them, look, you know where the majority of your audience lives. It's not going to be on every platform. So start off with one or two. Just work those two. And as you build your muscle and you get better and you start becoming more creative and you start to systemize and organize your workflow, then you get really efficient. Then you can start adding other platforms, because it's just taking that same video and going click, click, or getting some kind of distribution software to, like you said, put it out to 5 places at the same time. So you start using that kind of stuff at a certain point, but you don't have to be everywhere initially. You just have to be in the majority, in the 1 or 2 places where the majority of your people are. And if you just do that regularly enough, you will get results. Like, you don't have to spread yourself that thin that you just burn out and you'll say, this is too hard, forget about it. So that's the thing. It's balancing the activity and the omnipresence with the burnout.
And I think, is it TweetDeck or one of the, there's a few different platforms that blast it out, but what I've heard, and I used that years ago, not when I was in podcasting, but when I was doing kind of real estate and stuff like that.
Hootsuite, there's another one, Hootsuite.
That's the one I was, yeah.
So many.
But the thing is, what I've heard is you get penalized for like YouTube and stuff like that because they know it's going blasted out. So you have to do it individually. And it's like, so yeah, exactly. And so even like TikTok, to be honest, I'm playing around with that. There was one time I got like 13,500 views. Then I got 9 community warnings, and I was like, why am I building
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, I got kicked off Linktree and everything. I got, it just... And I was like, why am I building this? And I said, all right, let's put on the speaking ones. And so then I kind of got into, instead of just blasting different ones all the time, I said, okay, I'm going to do all my shorts for a certain episode, and that they'll be in sequence, but not... So I found, okay, 3, and then you get, the average was like 250 or something like that, and then I do 3.
Yeah. And
then I get like 1 view, 2 view, 1 view. It's like, what's the difference? And then I said, all right, I'll try 5. And I got 200 and odd per each one. Then the next 5, 1. So it's like, yeah, it's so hard to know which way to do it. But the way I kind of see it is if one person comes in and they're listening to the short, they can see the sequence and they can just go into your thing and go, oh, I like what they're saying. And they mightn't want to listen to the episode, but they can go along. But with the other ones, Instagram, I stopped Instagram. I don't like it. I mean, I have them, but I never found it benefited me.
Yeah, I agree, actually. Instagram is the one platform that I don't use. I use most of the others, and even just really quickly. So as soon as I do my one episode, I now have a team that help put it all together, because again, it's getting, there's a lot of work. But I'll put it up on YouTube. I'll put it up on my podcast apps, which is either Podbean or Spotify for podcasters. And then I'll take a little 30-second trailer video, a little snippet video or signature section, and then I'll make a short out of that. I'll put that on YouTube, and I put the same video on Facebook, and then I put it on a Facebook reel, and then I'll put it on TikTok, and then I'll put it on... I think I've covered most of them. So I'm just repurposing the same thing, and I might just change the copy a little bit. But I've just made that one little reel or that one little video short once with captions and emojis, and then I'll put it all over the place. So I'm trying to... And again, a lot of that's really quick. But if I had to say, choose one, for my audience, it's Facebook and LinkedIn. Those are my 2 best social media channels for me.
And I've seen from your episode that what you do is you're extracting like kind of the key points and putting it at the very start. And I've done that once or twice, but I just kind of, 1, I forget to do it, and 2, it's like, just taking a bit too much time. How much of a benefit have you found doing that?
That's been really beneficial. So a lot of those posts where I put that little video up, which is just a 30-second key moment I take out of the episode. And what I do as well, and what I've noticed, and I've learned this from other people, is I'll put that at the beginning of my show. So I put that at the beginning of my full show, then I have my intro, then I'll have the body of the episode, and then I'll have my outro. So people can already see what we're going to be talking about and get a sense of it right from the beginning. And if they like it, they watch the show. Because if they don't, they might not even get past your intro. They'll say, "I forget about it." And so when I do that, I put that on social media, and it, particularly on LinkedIn, that over or outdoes any other content that I use. That little snippet trailer video, key moment video, outperforms most of my other content on LinkedIn, organic. So it's been really powerful.
I've done that a few times. I put it at the start, but it's more time, the time elements of it. And what I normally do is I create the episode I write, because I edit everything myself and I go through it. I do it at double speed, but I'm making the show notes and then I get the title from the show notes. Then I send it to my team to create the shorts based on the times that I've done, and then I use that every year. But I know by extracting that and putting it to the start, but it's just because sometimes I'm whacking out 10 shows a week, like, so it's like if I had just the one show, I could do that, but with the 10, I'm like, but I know it's for those that are one show or two. I'd highly recommend what you've just said.
Definitely, highly recommend it, because it gives people a little taste of the tone of the show and the tone of the guest and what they're going to be talking about. And you say, "Oh yeah, I like the look of these. I like the sound of these guys or girls. Let's watch." And and the other thing that's really, really great is check out those two products, Splashio and Opus Clip, because all I'll do is I'll put my raw videos or my YouTube channel into those things, and it will spit out 30 or 40 clips for me, 30-second clips with my logo and everything, all done via AI. So you've saved a lot of time, and you can just choose one, put it at the front, or put it on social media.
And because some of the AI tools, they weren't getting it. They'd kind of be in the middle of a conversation or something like that. That's why I always found the team was better, because like it's from me asking the question and then the answer, and then that was it. Whereas when the AI was doing it, it was kind of like, and then you're spending so much time kind of bringing it back and forth. Did you find them tools were giving you decent ones, or did you still have to do a lot of editing?
So because I might set it up to give me 30-second clips, even if I get 5 or 6 really good ones, perfect. So I didn't have to do any editing. Like a lot of and they rate them. They give you, this one's 5 out of 5 for certain reasons. This one's 4 out of 5. This one's 3 out of 5. But I'm always going to get at least 5 or 6 good quality clips, 30-second clips from that, and some of the others I wouldn't use. But it saved me a lot of time. It's all done by AI in 15 minutes. It's pretty amazing.
Darren, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I know we'll be bouncing ideas off each other, and let's get you back again on the podcast so that we can share more stuff, because at the end of the day, I think we want to keep people away from the mainstream media, because it's just regurgitating lies, and get people podcasting or sharing their knowledge on the tours, which you might let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on my website, just suspendedanimation.com.au. Then you can link to everything from there. So really easy, all one word.
No, excellent. Okay, perfect. I'll make sure I put it both on the audio and the video. And this is going out on the speaking podcast, but also the Podfather, because we're talking all things podcasting. So that's basically the reason for that. And you'll find everything on podfather.me and speakingpodcast.com. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rate, and share with your friends, and comment on what we discussed. Until next week, take care. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. As mentioned at the start, you'll find my 6 podcasts on bio.link/podcaster. And also, if you'd like to start a podcast or do a podcasting tour, you'll find the information on that or on the QR code that's there. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, and share with your friends, because it really helps. Until next week, take care.